What is going on, Internet? JD coming at you here with another video. This is about ESPN, and I'm tired of ESPN's being a bunch of liberal cesspool douchebags. Okay? I'm really fucking sick of it. Okay? Here's what I mean by that. First off, any chance they get, ESPN will push their stupid, goddamn liberal agenda. Any chance they get. Okay? I've listened to ESPN First Take. First off, I'm just going to mention I hate Max Kellerman. Every chance that guy gets, let's talk about racism. Let's talk about the original sin of this country. It happened. I admit it happened. Racism happened. Okay, there might be some racists nowadays. Not everyone's racist. How are we ever going to move past something if you're going to get reminded of it every 5 minutes? Can't move forward in your next relationship if you keep talking about your old one. Okay? It happened. Can we please move past it as a nation, as a society, as human beings? Can we move past the fact that America, much like other countries in the world, had slavery, and it was some deeply racist undertones to the way we used to do things, and we're trying to move past all that stuff. Can't move past if every 5 minutes we're having to apologize for something that happened 200 years ago. Okay, seriously. And I'm not going to get into that. But here's what needs to freaking happen. This is what's got me pissed off. I'm watching ESPN First Take, and I can't stand Max Kellerman. He wants to push that goddamn agenda of his every fucking day. He's on that phone, on that show. Every chance he gets, he wants to push his, the original sin of this country was slavery. Let's make sure we don't forget about that today. Let me see how many times I can mention that in one fucking show. I'm tired of him freaking talking about it. Move on. Find another topic to talk about. Talk about sports. Why can't you just talk about sports? Why can't you just be the guy discussing sports? Instead, you got to throw the fact that America had slavery in every goddamn episode. I mean, I get your agenda, and good for you. You have an agenda, and you have something you're striving for. But seriously, can we just talk about sports? This is what happened in the show. A couple days ago, Stan Van Gundy, coach of the Detroit Pistons, said that the one-and-done rule was racist, and it was racist, and it was built in racist contones, and the NCAA is racist for having the rule. Okay, that's what was said. It was racist, and the rule was racist in nature, and the NCAA is racist for having the rule. You know, that's fine and dandy, and I could probably stand by that, except for the problem, the NCAA didn't make the fucking rule. Okay? And Max Kellerman came on the show and literally told them, well, first off, Stan Van Gundy's wrong. He literally told them, Stan Van Gundy is wrong. The NCAA did not make this rule. The NBA made this rule. Because you have a bunch of older black men who don't want to lose their jobs to a bunch of younger black men. So they got rid of the one-and-done rule to make sure that the NBA veterans were not losing their job to a bunch of guys coming in the league with young athletic potential. Okay, so that's why they have it. It's a labor union's job is to keep the jobs of the people in the union, not the job of the guys coming into the league that aren't even in the labor union. The job is to work for them. And the second thing was David Stern made the rule because there hasn't been a lot of success with one-and-done players. Okay, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, I think Dwight Howard might have been one too, are like a very small group of people or players that have succeeded under coming right out of high school, and it's not the norm. And he realized that, and he wanted to make a rule to stop it. Okay, so is there NCAA racist? No, they're not. Okay, it's not racially driven at all. That is driven by ageism, if you want to do anything. It's a bunch of old people who don't want to lose a job to a bunch of younger people. That's basically what that's based on. Okay? And and here's the thing. It's one thing if you come out and say that. He makes a good point. Like, you know what, you're right. It's not racially driven. But you know what they decided to do today? They decided to keep talking about it. About how the rule is racist. They decided to keep talking about how racist the rule is, how racist the NCAA is, and all this fucking hoopla. Okay, seriously. And you can't make an accurate comparison. They tried to compare the minor league systems of Major League Baseball, or the minor league system of baseball, and the NHL, and try to compare that to the NFL and the NBA not having minor league systems. Well, first off, the NHL owns the minor league systems. The NBA, MLB owns the minor league systems. Okay? 2, NCAA baseball and NCAA hockey are not as popular as NCAA basketball and football. So it was not in the best interest of the NBA to make a real, like, minor league system for basketball when you have this huge conglomerate called the NCAA that's producing stars and NBA players for you. It would just not be financially responsible for them to do that when they already have a system known as the NCAA creating players for them. So what is the issue with that? Same with the NFL. There's no reason for the NFL to make a minor league system. I think they should, because, you know, I just personally think they should. And you should have some kind of minor league football system, because they don't have one, because the NCAA football program is the largest football league in the second largest football league in the world. Okay, NHL, the second largest hockey league in the world beyond the NHL, is the minor league system. The largest baseball league in the world, maybe not in like South Latin American countries or like Japan or whatever case may be, but the largest and most popular baseball leagues in the world are the minor league systems. Okay, so that's not a fair comparison. You don't have the equivalent of a minor league system already built in college baseball and college hockey. It's just the way it is. It's a fact of the matter. Okay? Basketball and football have been popular for years. Actually, the NCAA basketball was more popular than the NBA at one point. Okay, so they already had a system to produce players for them. They didn't have to make a minor league system. And it's not racially driven. It's because the sports are more popular. So they already had this vehicle that was created for them to actually bring in talent. Okay, NHL hockey and MLB baseball did not have that vehicle. College baseball and college hockey is not popular enough that they can draft specifically out of those systems. They can recruit and build players specifically out of college baseball and college hockey. Okay, so it's not a fair comparison. There's two different animals. Okay, 2 different animals. And to claim that racism is a driving force, one, it's uneducated. I used to like Stan Van Gundy. I don't anymore, because that was a stupid fucking statement. You don't even know that your own league made the rule, and you're in charge. Now I have no confidence in his coaching ability. You're in charge of players. You're in charge of coaching players, and that's what spewed out of your mouth. The inaccuracies like that. You're in charge of young men. And that inaccuracy spewed out of your mouth. You're not even educated enough to know that the NCAA did not make the one and done rule, and you have the nerve to call them racist. That's what I have an issue with. And ESPN wants to, even though they're corrected, still wants to talk about it. Still wants to spread a false narrative. This is my issue with it. This is my video. It's 8 minutes long. It's 5 minutes longer than I want it to be. But does anyone else agree or disagree? And for the record, I want to throw this out there. I don't care if the players get paid. This is America, where if you should be compensated financially and for your services, and I don't want to hear this bullshit about they get a scholarship. I don't want to hear that bullshit. Okay, they get a scholarship. NCAA makes $5 billion a year, and they only profit off of 2 sports: men's basketball, 3 sports: men's basketball, college basketball for men, or women's basketball. I think they make enough to break even. So men's basketball and men's football. They're only 2 sports that are profitable. They're the only 2 sports that make money. They get out more than they put in. Okay? There are other sports that don't make enough money. Title IX sports do not make enough money. Okay? So you have all these sports. These 2 sports alone are supporting all these other sports. Okay? And I believe it's not racially driven, because quarterbacks don't get paid money. White players don't get paid money either. So it's not black or white. It's not a black players don't get paid and white players do. That would be racist. I agree with you there. No one gets paid. You're getting, a lot of people are making money except for the players that are actually the product. The product is the basketball players. And a lot of players, actually no players, are getting paid by the NCAA. So I have no issue. All these things are coming down that players got paid or getting paid by these agents or whatever. I personally don't care. They can get paid all the money they want. They deserve financial compensation for their talents. If I am the only blacksmith in the world, the only one, should I work for free? No. I should get paid properly for what I am worth. It's called a free market economy. Now, unfortunately, the problem with the NCAA is they've locked in with the NFL and the NBA and said, like, none of these players should be allowed, can only go through your league if they come through our league first. So they've cornered the market. And I honestly, this is what I hope this happens. I want it to change. If it changes and we're done, I don't know what system we're going to put in place. I don't know. I think it's going to be really hard to do. But here's what should happen. Every NCAA player should boycott or not play in the NCAA tournament. Every one of them. Why should all these entities make money except for them? Why should all these entities, everyone's making money off of them except for the players? Now, they're making money. Now, here's why I think the FBI is involved, is they're making money on the table when it's not taxed. That's why I think the NCAA is involved. Or the, NCAA. FBI. FBI is involved because all these players are making money and it's not taxed. That is why. That is why players that is why this is happening. That's the best way I can put it. So, that being said, that's my personal opinion. I think players should get paid with the worth. The problem is I don't know how that's going to work. The reason why I don't know how that's going to work is because, again, you have everyone has to, it's not fair that a player who's playing a sport that makes more money is going to get paid, and women's athletes are not going to get paid, or the guy playing tennis isn't going to get paid, or the guy in wrestling isn't going to get paid for his talents. Sorry, no one goes and watches women's lacrosse or women's field hockey or women's soccer or whatever. No one goes and watches. It's not my fault. I'm just being honest. No one goes and watches Title IX sports. It's the way it is. Okay? And, I mean, if you have an issue with that, if you're offended by that, I'm sorry. If you don't like that, go watch more women's sports. Go spend your hard-earned money and go watch women's sports and invite all your friends to go and make more revenue for those sports. Because the revenue speaks for itself. There's not a lot of interest in those things. Okay? And I'm nothing against any women's sports. It's just they're not profitable. The only one I think breaks even is women's basketball, because basketball is such a hot commodity. Okay? Maybe women's soccer might break even, because soccer is not an expensive sport. Okay, but a lot of sports don't break even. A lot of sports cost money, and that's what NFL and the college basketball, college football bring to the table. Is a lot of money and revenue is made to pay for those other sports. Okay, and again, I'm just one telling you the truth. Don't be mad at me because it might offend you. Okay, nothing against women's sports. But these players are part of a sport that's making your sport profitable. They should get paid for their services. Just like, I mean, in my opinion, it's different whenever you compare the scholarship that, each scholarship is the same. For example, if you play tennis compared to basketball, tennis brings in no revenue. No revenue to the school. It costs the school money, actually. But you get a scholarship for tennis. You get room and board. You get an education. Okay? But your sport brought in no money. Compare that to the basketball player over here, where they bring in money, their sport is profitable, and they get the same equivalent, they have the equivalent scholarship as a person who's not bringing money into this institution. That does not make any sense. That is like a socialist mentality if I've ever seen one, or communist, whatever you want to call it. Okay? So I'm just saying, and it's not me trying to be mean to those who play like lesser sports that don't make as much money, not lesser sports, but sports that don't make as much money. It's a fact. The football program brings in a lot of money compared to the tennis program. It's not my choice. If you don't like that, go watch tennis more. Okay? So the scholarship should not be equal. That makes sense? Because one is creating revenue, one's costing the school money. So that's my video. My name's James, JD. Watch my video, like, share, and subscribe. Have a good one.